Okay, so I believe we are live here on YouTube. Welcome. My name is Trevor Barnes. These live events, you never know how they're doing. We were having some issues in the beginning. I think we're all good now. But I wanted to do something a little different today. This is not going to be a long live event. What I'm going to try to do is just quickly make a live stream talking about something I otherwise would have sat down and made a regular video for. But instead, we're live. Theoretically, we can take comments, interact with the audience. We'll see if that indeed does happen. But as of right now, I have a bit of a story to tell. One that is very frustrating to me because, well, as the title of this live stream says, my MacBook died. And it's not really my fault, nor is it Apple's fault. It's eBay's fault. But let's get right into it. So, a couple weeks ago, my dad got a new MacBook. Previously, he had a 13-inch Retina from 2012. He was ready to upgrade, get something a little newer, but, relatively, he just needed more power. New MacBooks, if you're looking for like a 15-inch, they're expensive. So, he did something similar to what I got a couple of months back. He got a 2013 15-inch MacBook Pro Retina with, the quad-core i7 processor, the dedicated graphics card, all the bells and whistles. Definitely plenty of horsepower that he needs to do his job. All was fine. He got it from eBay, from a decent seller, it seemed like. Computer came, and everything seemed fine. Excuse my coughing. It's going to happen a little bit. I think I'm actually getting a little bit sick. So everything seemed fine until we actually plugged in the included charger. It wasn't working quite right. I didn't really think much of it. Apple chargers can be weird, as if you have a MacBook, you may know. So didn't really think much of it. We have other Macs. I have, my MacBook Pro. This is my girlfriend's MacBook Air since my MacBook's dead. My dad had his old MacBook. We had plenty of chargers, so I used another charger. That was the end of it. We didn't really think much of it. If anything, I thought the charger was working because I did plug in my MacBook and it was charging. Well, as I thought it was charging. Needless to say, a couple days went by, didn't really have any issues, didn't experience any issues with any MacBooks, everything was fine. Didn't really use that charger much, but this came to last Wednesday night when I usually leave my charger here at the office. I was playing around with some live streaming at home because I'm building a little studio in my basement, and I need to plug my MacBook in. I didn't have my MacBook charger. I went to go ahead and use the charger since it seemed to be working. That came included with my dad's MacBook Pro. Everything seemed fine. It was actually charging the computer. And, well, that's what I thought. Until I went to go grab the MacBook, take it off the charger, I see the battery's at 5%. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? Well, it turns out the charger killed my MacBook. What's better than this is in the diagnosing period. Sorry about the cough. In the diagnosing period and trying to figure all this mess out, it even turns out it's worse than that because it killed my dad's old MacBook since we were trying to figure it all out and plugged it in and had no clue. Again, we thought the charger was working. When my MacBook first stopped charging, I didn't even think it was the charger's fault. I thought there was something with the computer specifically. I mean, it was, but the fact that this charger blew up both my MacBook and my dad's old MacBook. This gets me to lesson one. Be careful when you buy stuff on eBay. Because the fact that a faulty, $50 charger killed my $1,000 MacBook or $1,000 plus MacBook and my dad's, 2012 13-inch MacBook Pro, that, number one, is crazy. You're talking about $1,500 worth of damage, essentially. If you're just going by pure value of these devices. But let's talk about really what happened here. So that happened Wednesday night. Couldn't really do anything. Thursday was Thanksgiving. Happy Turkey Day. Couldn't really do anything. I did contact the eBay seller at that point that supplied us the faulty power charger, but didn't hear back. Wasn't really expecting to. It was a holiday. Thursday comes around. I make an appointment at the Apple store. This is my MacBook's my work computer. I've made several of the videos you've watched on this channel. Me and Eric both kind of rock MacBooks. That's my main computer. I don't really have another computer besides my all-in-one gaming computer I built a couple weeks back. So I need my main machine back. Go to the Apple store and get a quote. Let me give you an idea here of how much this is going to cost and what really happened here. So I got the email right here. So anyone want to take a guess at how much this is going to cost me? Well, it's a blown logic board. I don't know exactly what happened. I think the faulty power charger probably overvolted or gave it too much power on the logic board somewhere, blew a capacitor, or resistor, probably what happened. Resistor would be more likely. But to get a new logic board, $475. Labor, they're charging $100, so altogether $575 before tax. That's a lot of money. You're talking about, again, like $1,000 computer, and over a little bit over half of its value is now having to go for repairs in order to get it back. I told them, because it was my work computer and I don't have an extra $1,000 laying around to go buy a new one, I told them to go ahead with the repairs. I thought it was mostly reasonable. Not that I had much of a choice. I have data on there I couldn't access. Everything's backed up. I'm not totally stupid, but still, just the inconvenience factor of everything, I need it back. I need that computer back. So I went ahead and went with the repair, and that is where we stand with that. As far as my dad's old MacBook, he was planning on selling that when he got his new MacBook. Well, now that the stupid charger killed his, he lost a lot of value, and it may not make sense to go ahead and repair his just to sell it, and the money, the cost difference, or just sell it, broke it. We're not really sure what to do with his yet. The seller on eBay got back to us and was wanting us to send the 2 MacBooks to him, and he would try to fix them. I don't know if any of that sounds sketchy or not, because to me it does sound a bit sketchy. I don't really want to deal with that. I'm hoping that the seller takes responsibility, as his faulty power charger broke 2 MacBooks that again, value, if you're just going by the cost of the MacBooks to get a equivalent one, used, I'm not even going new, you're talking $1,500. You're talking almost $600, with tax over $600 of repair on my MacBook. My dad's, I'm not sure yet. I know you can get logic boards for like $250, $300 for his, so it's a little bit cheaper. Don't know what Apple sells, specifically what they would quote yet. I got to go to the Apple store for his MacBook still. But you're talking probably $1,000 in repairs. It's just crazy. This really just shows that you got to be really careful when buying used stuff. This never, you never could have predicted this. And it also shows who's accountable here. And this is where these things get tricky on eBay, because I don't really think it's my fault. I didn't know it was a faulty power charger. It killed my MacBook. It killed my dad's MacBook. And this is because a stupid eBay seller sold us a product that was broken. I don't know where accountability falls here, but it really does anger me, because it was like, I had a perfectly good computer. I had nothing to do with any of this. This wasn't my fault. And to be honest, I don't blame Apple. Apple didn't sell me a faulty product. I don't know where this MacBook charger came from. And this was one of those big sellers on eBay that sell, probably hundreds of thousands of Macs a year or whatever it is. And, they take a MacBook, we're going to sell this one, let's get a charger off the shelf. Did they even test it? Because if they tested it for 30 seconds, they probably would have realized it was broken. I brought the charger to the Apple store. At the Apple store, the guy plugged the charger into one of their demo computers there, and he was like, I don't care if this computer blows up. And he was like, yep, it's the charger. He found that out in 30 seconds. So there has to be accountability here. And I do hope that the eBay seller does indeed take accountability for, again, probably $1,000 worth of repairs when it's all said and done. But this has definitely hindered my ability, to do my job. That's just the repairs. That's not taking away probably the hundreds of dollars, if not more, on the lack of productivity I've been able to do and my inconvenience. If I were to sue him, there'd be a very substantial claim to compensation just for the lack of productivity, the time invested into this. I'm not an unreasonable person. I'm really not. Especially when it comes to stuff like this, I don't really fault the eBay seller. It's probably a stupid mistake. I just hope he takes accountability for it. Like I said, I don't fault Apple. I know we've made a lot of videos recently about Linux, and I know my video, about a month back, or I guess 2 months back, saying I was going to switch my primary operating system to Mac, and people were like, good luck with Apple. And it's like, this is not an Apple fault. This is not an Apple product fault. Power chargers go bad. Computers die for random reasons at times. Things happen. That's not really Apple's fault. Same thing could have happened on a Dell or HP, and this is not me siding with Apple at all. I'm still not happy that this is still costing me money out of pocket if this guy doesn't essentially reimburse or refund or something. And I'm still kind of upset with Apple. Some of these things cost as much as they do, but this is not me defending Apple. More or less, it's just stating the facts. If it was a Dell, it would have been the same thing. I'm not really blaming Apple. If anything, the one benefit I'll give Apple is that if this was a Dell, I would not be able to take it to a physical store and get it repaired. At least with Apple, I can do that, and I feel comfortable. I don't really feel comfortable giving that eBay seller my 2 MacBooks, not knowing what he's going to do with it or what's going to happen with it. That seems a little more sketchy to me. So I am interested to see what you guys think. The reason I'm calling this part 1 is right now we don't know what's going to happen. The eBay seller has not gotten back to me in over 24 hours, which is not good. Originally, they seemed very understanding. I sent an email saying, like, look, I can't send the 1 MacBook to you, number 1, because I had to have it go out to Apple Repair. I couldn't afford for this machine to be down. This is my work computer. The other computer, I said, I don't have a problem sending you the other computer to look at, but we need to have some guarantees here. I'm not just going to send you a MacBook and hope that you're going to repair it or hope you're going to ever send it back to me. My experience with this seller so far isn't the best. So it's like where to compromise there. So, those are the tricks, the tricky parts right now that, is not good. I don't really know what to do. But I am curious to see if you guys have any opinions. Since we are live, if you guys want to put anything in the chat, I'll be able to take a look at that. Otherwise, we'll keep this conversation going in the comments after this video is posted as well. Just because, I'm sure I'm not the only one in this situation. Whether you bought a used charger, maybe you even bought a new charger, that would have been Apple's fault. But you buy a charger, it screws up something, or you plug it into an outlet you shouldn't have. Something happens. It's like it's not your fault per se. It's just the random crap that happens. It's really a unfortunate thing, but it happens to the best of us. It happened to me. It's definitely caused a lot of headache in my life over the past week, a week from today. So curious to see what you guys have to say. I don't see anything in the comments here, but again, we'll have the comments go. I'm curious to see what people say. I'm sure gonna be, it's Apple's fault. No, I think it's really just the nature of buying used stuff, I guess. But it is what it is. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Let me know what you guys think about these shorter live streams, kind of like the sit-down talk video, but instead just doing it live. I know my coughing is probably annoying. I'm getting a little bit sick, which is unfortunate. But besides that, I do appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you guys